All right, students, here we go. This is your first one of seeing one of these, I believe. So here we go through your practice test here. So it says, write an equation in standard form. Remember, that's ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers, and a must be positive. So we have negative 3, 6 for the slope. I'm going to reduce that to negative 1/2 through the points. We have a point and a slope. So we're going to use the point slope formula right here. Y minus y sub 1. So y minus negative 6 is plus 6 equals m, the slope, negative 1/2 times x minus x sub 1, the 2 right there. Now remember, I just got done saying in standard form you cannot have any fractions. So we must multiply by the common denominator, which is 2 here. So that's why you see me put a bracket around the whole equation, multiply by 2. Then we get 2y plus 12 equals negative, because the 2's cancel here, so just negative 1 times parentheses x minus 2. Distribute the negative through there, and you get negative x plus 2. And of course, I need the a, which is the coefficient of the x, to be positive, so I move it to the left side, and then the constant to the right. So you'll end up with x plus 2y equals negative 10. Graph the equation y equals 4x minus 2. The slope is 4 over 1. Y-intercept is 0, negative 2. So plot the y-intercept. That's a point, 0, negative 2. And slope up 4, right 1. And there's another point, connected arrows at the ends. Write an equation line and slope intercept form that passes through it. 2 points. Well, remember, we need point slope formula, so we have a point, but we need a slope. So we got to find the slope first. Change in y over change in x. So I did 3 minus negative 6 over negative 4 minus 2. That gives you negative 9. 6 reduces negative 3/2. So now I have a slope, and I can pick one of these 2 points. As you can see here, I chose the second point. So y minus the y value, which is 3, equals the slope, negative 3/2, times x minus the minus 4 makes it plus 4. Again, just like up here, we cannot have a fraction involved, so I multiply the entire equation by 2. Oh, sorry, we're doing the slope-intercept form. If I was in standard form, I'd have to do that. Slope-intercept form, you don't have to. So now I just distribute the negative 3/2 through there. And last step, add the 3 across. Negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. And there's your answer. Midpoint just means find the average of the x's and the average of the y's. That's what you see here. 4 plus negative 3 divided by 2, comma, negative 5 plus 5 divided by 2, and you get 1/2, comma, 0. Solve the inequality. Distribute this through here. Then combine like terms. Bring the 4n across. Gives you 2n is greater than negative 12 divided by 2, and n is greater than negative 6. What percent of the data is between 30 and 70? Remember, this is 25%, this is 25%, this is 25%, and this is 25%. So from 30 to 70 is 25%. That's our box and whisker. Graph the compound inequality. Compound means there's 2 inequalities in the same one. So x, remember there's no equal sign underneath it, it means open circle. Equal sign means closed circle. So open circle at 3, closed circle at negative 1, shaded in between. You read it, x is less than or equal to negative 1 and less than 3. Graph the solution set to an inequality. Remember, whenever you solve an inequality, you're going to have 2 answers, meaning not quote 2 answers, but 2 equations that you're solving. They're going to be an infinite amount of answers. Okay, so the first one, you just take off the opposite value. X minus 1 is greater than 1, add the 1 across, x is greater than 2. The second one, you take the opposite value off and you switch the inequality sign and put a negative out in front on the right side. Now, if there's multiple terms here, I'd have parentheses and still the negative outside of that, and I'd distribute the negative through everything. Okay, in this case, there's only one term, 1, so it becomes negative 1. Again, you're switching that inequality sign. So add the 1 across, x is less than 0. Now, key to remember here, this is greater. Another way to think of that is greater. Okay, so it's going to be an or in between. If it was less than, it'd be an and, less than. Think about adding the d on the end, and it'd be an and in between here. So it's greater there, greater, I think greater, so you have an or. Okay, so x is greater than 2. Again, open circle at 2 to the right, in or x is less than 0. Open circle at 0, going to the left. Solve the system equations for x. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate the y's then. Solve for x. So I multiply by negative by 2. That gives me negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Eliminates the y's. So I have 10x plus 4x is 14x. And I have 14 plus 14 is 28. Divided by 14 on both sides. X is 2. And I'm done. Doesn't say to solve for y, so you better not do that. I get marked down for not following directions. Number 10, graph the system of inequalities. Y is greater than 3x minus 0, which is the same thing as y is greater than 3x. So y-intercept is 0, up 3, right 1 for my slope. It doesn't have an equal sign, so it's dotted. Remember, it's dotted, and then greater than means above it. All this above it, but that's only one inequality. The other one says x is greater than or equal to 1. That's a vertical line right here at 1, and that's solid because it has an equal sign. And then greater than is to the right, so it has to be to the right of this and above this. So it's this piece of area up here when you see it darkened. Solve the system here. Since it's already solved for y, we're going to use the substitution method. Just plug in that negative 4x plus 23 right in here for this y, as I show right here. Distribute the negative 4 through there. You get this. Combine like terms and add the 92 across. And last step, divide by 19, you get x equals 5. Then I go ahead and plug the 5 into there, which I show over here. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20 plus 23 is 3. So you get 5 comma 3. Make sure you put it as a point and x first, y second. The sum of two numbers is 25. There's that equation. The difference of two numbers, x minus y equals negative 9. I can just add it straight down because that'll eliminate the y's right away. I get 2x equals 16, x equals 8. I get in 8 plus what is 25? 17. So 8 and 17 are my two numbers. 13. I want to first reduce what I can inside the parentheses, and then I'll cube it afterwards. So 2 fourths reduced to 1/2, and that's x cubed. 1/2 has to be distributed to everything inside. So 1/2 cubed is 1/8, and x cubed is x to the 9th. 14. Since these are different powers here, okay, I need to go ahead and do each one individually and then simplify. So remember, I'm distributing this 2 through everything in here. So 4 squared is 16, 4 times 2 is 8, and negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Distribute the 3 through here. Now, instead of doing 16 cubed on the calculator, I just wrote down 16 times 16 times 16. That's easier than to do the canceling then. Okay. And then I have 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 times 3 is 9. So one of these 16s will cancel one of these 16s. I'm left with 16 times 16, which is 256. 1 over 256 for the numbers. Here I have x to the 8th, but here I have x to the 18th. So I have 10 extra x's in the denominator. A negative exponent becomes positive when you drop it down there. So this comes down to the denominator, and I have 9 plus 8 is 17. All right, next page. Scientific notation. Remember, I have to put it, first number has to be between 1 and 10. So it's 4.45. Where does decimal really go? Over here at the end. So how many places do I have to move it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. So 4.45 times 10 to the 6th. Remember, you have to include all the numbers up until there's only zeros left. So 4.45 is where we can cut it off because there's all zeros left right there. All right, multiplication is scientific notation. I take the first two numbers, 4 times 5 is 20, and then this, and that means I add my exponents. 12 minus 7 is 5. So I have 20 times 10 to the 5th. Remember, I can't have 20. It has to be between 1 and 10. So I have to put the decimal right there. But where does it really belong? To the right one. So I'm going to have to add 1 here. So it's 2.0 times 10 to the 6th. 16. That was 16, sorry. 17. So I go ahead and simplify this number. 4 over 16 is 1/4. And here I have one more 10 in the denominator. All the ones in the numerator are gone. So times 10 to the 1st. So 1/4 is 0.25 times 10. This 10 to the 1st, moving the numerator, becomes 10 to the negative 1. So I have 0.25 times 10 to the negative 1. Remember, I can't have 0.25. I have to move it one place over to 2.5. But remember, it's supposed to be over here, so I have to actually subtract 1 off. So negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So 2.5 times 10 to the negative 2. Difference means subtraction. You need to know that. Okay, so we have that right there. So it's this minus, that's why you see this minus sign right here, and I put parentheses around the whole other one right there. So I have the parentheses around that. So negative 7 minus 8, that's 8 minus 7 is 1x squared. Negative times negative is 3x, plus 3x is 6x, and negative times negative is positive. 5 minus 8 is negative 3, and there's my answer. Okay, here we just multiply 2x times 4x, 8x squared. Then we have 2x times negative 8 is negative 16x, and that's 3 times 4 is 12. So 12 minus 16x is negative 4x, and then 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Whenever I square a binomial, remember you square the first term, 9x squared, multiply the two together, that's negative 21x, double that, negative 42x, and then square the last term, negative 7 is negative 7 is positive 49. That's the shortcut method. Otherwise, you'd write it out another one of these 3x minus 7s and multiply them together. Prime factorization, which I saw a lot of you blow on, not showing work on in your sheet. Remember, I break it down however I want. I did 36 times 10. 36 goes to 6 times 6, and the 6 go to 2 times 3. 10 goes to 2 times 5. Remember, you have to break it down until there are only prime numbers left. Or prime number is a number that only one in itself multiply or divide into. 2 is the first prime. So we have how many 2's here? 1, 2, 3 2's. So that's 2 cubed. How many 3's do I have here? 2 of them. 3 squared and 1 5. And there's my answer. Fact of the following. Okay, remember a times c multiplies to 36, adds to the middle term, negative 15. Those two numbers are negative 12 and negative 3. Remember the first term and the first term here after multiplying 9x squared. It's not going to be 9x next because those aren't going to give me these two. So it's 3x and 3x. Okay, and then 3 times this one has to give me one of them. So 3 times negative 1 gives me the negative 3. And 3 times what gives me the negative 12? Negative 4 for that one right there. That's the Carlson method. Otherwise, you can do the AC method and work it out and do your pairs and all that kind of stuff and factor it out, etc. And you'll still get the same answer. Factor the following. Okay, what I should recognize here is both of these are perfect squares. And so I should see if I take the square root of each, 3x and 3x, the square root of 1 and 1, and take the middle sign, negative, negative, see if they add up. So here I have 9x squared, negative 3x, and negative 3x is my negative 6x, and negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So that's called a perfect square trinomial because it's a square. It's the same thing twice. That's called a perfect square trinomial. All right, 24. Again, factoring. First step in factoring is GCF. Take out the r. I'm left with r squared minus 25. I should recognize that as a difference of perfect squares, which then breaks into r minus 5 and r plus 5. 25, I solve, it's already factored for me, so I just set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So 5x plus 6 equals 0. Subtract the 6 across, divided by 5 is negative 6/5. Add the 2 across, divided by 5, you get 2/5. So one or the other. Find the equation of the axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is always negative b over 2a when it's in standard form like this. So negative b is 8, and 2a is negative 4. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2, so the equation is negative x equals negative 2. You don't just say negative 2, it has to be x equals negative 2. It's a vertical line. And since this parabola opens down, because remember the A tells me if it's positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. Since it opens down, it's going to be a maximum at that vertex. And lastly, quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I didn't write that out because I already got it memorized. I just plugged in negative b is 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared is 25 minus 4ac all over 2a. 2 times 2 is 4. I have a negative times a negative here is positive. So I have 25 plus 48 over 4, and that gives me 73. 5 plus minus square root of 73 all over 4. Those are the exact answers. No, that's for exact answers. So you don't put in a calculator and get decimal answers. They want exact answers. All right, that explains all 27 questions. If you need more help with that, then come during the EL tomorrow. I'm here for an hour and a half to ask any final questions. Remember, test is next class. All right, bye.